Okay, let's get started. Thank you to everybody who's joined the webinar today. We're really excited to talk about some big changes at Upskill. For those of you who've used Zoom before, I'd love it if I could just get a quick show of hands. Anyone who's familiar with Upskill, worked with Upskill before, follows us on socials, already knows who we are. Just a quick show of hands. Okay, great. Okay, great. That's about 30% of people. I will assume that quite a lot of people here are new to understanding Upskill and perhaps don't know us as Upskill Digital. So I'll start just by talking a little bit about why we've made this change. So over the course of the last decade, we've been operating as Upskill Digital, founded by Gori Yahaya. And the founding message was digital skills shouldn't hold anyone back from pursuing careers in any number of different places. So training courses were developed and we kind of grew from there. But what we've managed to establish over the last 18 months is that we actually have an entire universe of content that's ready to ship to anyone who's looking to advance either in digital skills, leadership skills, inclusivity, to make an impact in their local community. And we've come together to build a new approach and a simpler approach to help more and more people get access to some world-class training that we've developed. So I'll talk a little bit about Gori. There he is on the slide. He, as I said, founded the business nearly 10 years ago with the vision to help drive digital skills and avoid the digital skills gap that he could see was widening. And what became quite quickly apparent was that it wasn't just a digital skills gap, but a general social gap. We started to broaden our horizons into DEIB and general inclusivity to make more roles accessible to more people that would otherwise have found themselves on the wrong side of that social divide. And a lot of these programs are really well recognized. You might be familiar with Google Digital Garage, which is a public training program that is basically rolled out by Google, but built and delivered by us. There's a bunch of other examples there at the bottom of other companies that we've worked with, either on a small or enormous scale. And if you want to go into some of the case studies, I won't go through that today, but on our new website, we have a case study section. You can go and look at some of the really cool, really bespoke things that we've done. So that keyword there, bespoke, is one that I just want to linger on for a second. Historically, our entire business has been, tell us what your problem is, tell us where your gaps are, tell us what impact you want to make, and we will build something from scratch, which was a really good way of attracting really incredible talents. As you can see, we've got 390 coaches in over 34 countries. We've trained over 678,000 people. So we've attracted some really strong talent over the course of those years. And what they've been able to do is create world-class training programs. And that's led to us understanding a little bit more about best practice methodology and delivery, and also best practice ways of learning that people would be more likely to actually apply their learnings after the training. So one thing to draw people's attention to is this 678,000 trained. Our goal, our mission is to train 1 million people, to touch 1 million people. And this has been something that's been our North Star since the company was founded. We want to train or deliver training to over 1 million people. We have these 3 different basic pillars that are our galaxies that we focus on in order to get to that goal. But rather than be a profit-driven company or a revenue-driven company, we use this as our North Star to keep us honest in our journey, to make sure we are changing people's lives, we are shifting people's mindsets, we are giving people confidence and mentorship. That's what we really want to do, and it's the people at the center of the journey that's most important. So let's talk a little bit about the Universe platform. So essentially what's happened over the last 18 months is we've been working on an internal project which we called Product Clarity Project, which was, how do we bring definition and clarity to all the different things that we do and have done for all these fantastic companies all over the world? For those 650,000 people that we've touched, what common thread holds them together? And we've come up with this really jazzy, really difficult to understand before I explain it, graphic. But this is essentially why we've rebranded to be the universe, to make things simple. So at the very base layer, we are Upskill Universe. We can deliver off-the-shelf training content in 3 key areas right now. Those are workforce, which is that teal arc here, inclusion, which is this pinky reddy sort of color, and impact, which I'll go into what all these mean later, but impact is our social advancement, social development pillar, where we've got things that are specific for people who are out of the workforce, ex-veterans, ex-offenders, all sorts of different courses for those areas. So for the majority of probably people on this webinar, that base layer of content that's already been developed, that's ready to ship off the shelf, is where you should be starting. You don't need to add anything on or do anything bespoke. The content's already there. It will have an immediate impact. But for some companies, they want to do something a bit more bespoke. So we'll create tailored sessions where we'll either bring in a guest speaker and run a mastermind session, or we'll run a hackathon to just drive home that learning and have people have application of learning in that area. Or we'll run a fireside chat where we get either one or a panel of speakers from inside your company to just either do Q&A or talk to the topic at hand, facilitated by us or facilitated by an external speaker. There's all sorts of different ways that we can run add-on sessions that I'll go through in a later slide. But to all intents and purposes, that is a luxury. We're going to add to what's already very successful, very useful training materials. The next layer is to go a bit more bespoke. So rather than access the public universe, which is our sort of largest instance of Upskill Universe, we can do a completely bespoke instance for just your company. We can rebrand all the training to your company. We can create custom training. We've done that thousands of times over the course of the last 10 years. So building brand new custom training that touches a very specific topic, or bespoking the content to have specific use cases to, if you're a legal firm, some legal use cases, if you're a groceries retailer, groceries retail case studies and workshops and experiences. So if you want to get more specific, if you want to get it to look and feel like an internal program, we can do all that bespoking for you, from graphic design to train the trainer to impact assessment, all the different ways that we can do that. The final is sort of a white glove opportunity where you can, if you don't have learning managers or learning designers inside your business, we can just make them available for you year round. You will have access to some of our world-class training delivery people and program managers who can support the rollout. So if you're looking at hundreds and hundreds of users on the platform, it's helpful to get access to one of our program managers 1 to 5 days a week. You know, for the really, really, really big programs where we're delivering to hundreds of thousands of learners, companies will have 2 or 3 program managers dedicated to ensure that things are working effectively. Other things that we do as part of support is we can run live in-person sessions where we take care of everything from catering to speakers to AV to everything. So that support is really there for massively groundbreaking, impactful ways of using the universe. But at the very core, it is a platform which has already built easy to deliver training that's accessible to all and is affordable to all. That's how we get to that million number, is by taking what was incredibly bespoke and incredibly expensive to create content and made it really, really affordable. So I just want to talk a little bit about some of the nomenclature that we use. So we have rebranded to Upskill Universe. Our platform is called the Universe Platform, and it's basically the online accessible way to access our content. So you can access our platform, and we kind of make it available in 3 different ways. One is a universe package. You buy the entire universe, you get access to every single piece of training that is there. Every single piece of new training that we create and deliver will go up there. It's kind of like when you buy, for people in the UK, but potentially around the world, when you buy Sky or you get cable or satellite installed in your home, it's much easier for you to we'll just take the whole package. Even if I'm not going to watch the Discovery Channel, there may be something on there I want. You're going to give me a cost reduction, saves me cherry picking everything. The galaxies are inclusion, workforce, and impact. So if you know for that your specific itch is around DEIB and inclusion, then you can just go ahead and buy that pillar. You'll get inclusive hiring, you'll get allyship, you'll get anti-harassment, you'll get all the content that we currently have for that galaxy and anything new that we create. If you're really dialed in and you just think that anti-harassment training is the solution to a problem that I'm having, I'd really like that to make that available to everybody and get everybody certified on anti-harassment. That's the one thing that I need. Everything else I don't really need access to. Then you can buy a single system. And it really does depend on what you're trying to achieve. But no matter what you pick, all of our systems are delivered in the same way. This methodology is what we've been working on for 18 months, which is how we ensure that the training that we've designed and the content that we've created, the methods as to how we deliver it actually has impact. That people who go through the training have multiple ways to interact with it. So people who do better in an in-person or instructor-led scenario get access to that. People who do better with self-led get access to that. People who do better running through real-life scenario exercises get access to that. And it's that adoption and that impact measurement that is so vital to the success of rolling something like this out. So I'll talk to you a little bit about each piece. The first is video on demand. We have pre and post course content that's available. The pre instructor-led training content is designed to bring everyone up to the same level. So there's no assumed knowledge when people go into the room. So there's no sort of people feeling left behind because they're not quite at the level that the training's pitched at for the instructor-led training. That's prep content, make sure everyone's on the same page. We then have virtual instructor-led training where we will do up to 25 people in a cohort, and they will go through 90-minute sessions or 3 90-minute sessions or 6 3-hour sessions. There's all sorts of different iterations of how we'll deliver the instructor-led training, but that's in a classroom with a small cohort of people. You can raise your hand, you can ask questions, and someone will walk you through the content. We then have the post-instructor-led training, which is how you get towards your CPD certification, where you will follow through even more content that isn't a duplication of the instructor-led training. It complements it. And once you've completed all those video trainings, you then have access to toolkits, which will have anything from podcasts to quizzes to workbooks to exercise scenarios, all sorts of different things inside the toolkit to really drive home the application of learning. So you don't just sit and watch someone speak to your team about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, and then after that, everyone goes back and does their jobs as normal. The toolkits are there to help really, really apply the learning. And anyone who goes through this whole program will get a certificate that shows that you are CPD certified on whatever the topic is. Maybe it's digital skills leadership. The final one is the one that's really easy to under-explain. Impact reporting is so vital. So for a lot of the companies, and specifically those companies that won't buy or see value in the add-on content or the bespoke content, that will just buy the course as it comes, those sorts of companies don't have internal learning managers, learning design managers, employee experience leadership. They are just they will be HR leadership that are buying this for their entire company, and they don't have that ability to measure the impact. So what we do is we provide monthly analysis where you get access to the data that shows who's completed which courses, where are people stalling. You'll get access to who's completed what certificates by which dates. That analysis is really vital. We'll also provide you with template emails to help make sure that those people who are dropping, we know why. Here's an email, get back on the horse, to really drive, sort of lead people through this process. You'll also get quarterly check-ins with that person who can go through a little bit more detail as to where you can be even more impactful. They'll share ideas for either webinars that we're running or third-party events that would be interesting to share with your team. So it's almost like having a learning experience manager inside your business, but we do it from our side. So you get access to that as standard, and this really is that nucleus of the previous slide where we talked about the Universe platform and how we deliver it. So let's talk about the different galaxies. The first one I'm going to talk about is upskill inclusion, and I'll show you a couple more in-depth scenarios on this. But please get in contact with me afterwards if there's something that flashes up here and you think, oh, wow, I really want to know about inclusive hiring, and I haven't got that example in this particular presentation. If I'd have gone through every single one, we would have seen the attendees drop off very gradually as I started to repeat myself. So this is really just to give you a flavor. I'll send you a link after this with the opportunity to book in for a one-to-one demonstration of the technology, or book in for a half-day trial where you can go through some of the training. But essentially, we have these three galaxies. One is inclusion. This is the one that we have the most content for. It's the one where we have generally the most interest in, because inclusion training is so tricky to deliver. I think a lot of the experience that we've had while we've been trying to design this is that a lot of inclusion training is why inclusion is important. It's trying to get people on the bus and trying to get people to say, yes, inclusion is important, which actually doesn't solve the problem. So what we've tried to curate here is a short list of content that is designed to not talk about the why, but the how. It's important to bring people along on the journey, but we really want to make sure that people leave these workshops and leave these courses certified in how, not just why. Because we're at a stage in society now where the why should be relatively obvious. For companies who are investing in this sort of thing, the why is generally obvious, and we're really focused on the how. So you can see here all the different courses that we have. I'm going to call out equity programs because they're slightly different. That's run over a longer period of time, and it's designed to really target specific people within an organization rather than be general. For inclusive hiring is great for anyone who's in a leadership position, in a hiring manager position, anyone who's in recruitment or HR. That's really good, useful for general usage. Allyship is general usage. These equity programs are really targeted, and I'll show you an example of one in a second. This is one of our simpler courses, Allyship. You can see the sort of things that we're trying to deliver during this course. You can get it completed within a few weeks, and it consists of one 60-minute e-learning course and a 90-minute live workshop. You get access to the toolkits, which I can share in more detail, and it's accessible by all employees. So you can read all the text on this slide, and of course, I'm going to send you a summary of it afterwards. But essentially, the Allyship course is a foundational course. It's a how can you be a good ally for whomever you want to stand up with. That equity piece of DEIB is really important, and this particular course is really helpful for foundational allyship. We have one customer who literally just has this one system, and they have every single member of their team go through it when they join, get the certification, so that it's foundational to the way that they work. The other example I've brought in here is about an equity program. And I picked women in leadership, and you can see that this is slightly more drawn out. So it's actually a 5-week program, which includes 5 90-minute workshops, a 60-minute e-learning course, which again is for that pre-learning, make sure everyone's on the same page going in, and post-learning as a reminder of what was delivered and the key highlights. There's very little overlap between the e-learning and the in-person workshops, but you can see also that there's 4 interactive toolkits that come with this, which again is an investment in making sure that if we're going to spend what's 5 times 90, 450 minutes, so the best part of 5 hours, 6 hours in a workshop, let's make sure we've got lots of opportunity to apply that learning. These equity programs can be more likely bespoke than some of the other stuff that's easier to deliver off the shelf. So if you're interested in these sorts of things, come to me directly and we'll do a proper needs assessment for your team, and we'll go into some more detail as to what flavor or version of this program would work best for you, because it helps sometimes to have a bit more bespoke in here. The second galaxy to go through is Upskill Workforce. We're adding to this regularly, but these are the 4 that we've kind of highlighted as being the most vital as we launch the platform. Workforce is all about digital skills and leadership skills and the internal hard and soft skills that people need to have to be successful in a modern workplace. So again, I'm not going to go through each one individually. You can read them for yourself. But one example that I wanted to pick out was People Management Essentials. I think a lot of organizations will have leadership training already, but what we do differently here is that we talk about specifically how to apply management essentials. It's not necessarily about pure leadership training, which is how to be a good leader. This is how to solve specific problems, how to empower decision making, how to make sure your team are progressing and improving as they go along. And it will look, the title itself suggests that this is basically for leadership, but we see this being very, very popular and very, very powerful for people who are either on fast track or grad scheme, or people who have joined that we know and earmark as probably future leadership material. This is a program that's very dynamic and very helpful for anyone in the organization to access, because even if they're not a leader and they're not going to be a leader soon, if they're not going to have a management position or management responsibilities, it's really helpful to get an understanding for what that means, so you alter your lens when you're dealing with different areas of your internal leadership. So we really like this course. This one has 3 different live learning workshops, and the e-learning course is 90 minutes. It also comes with the toolkit and impact reporting, of course, but this one's run over 4 to 8 weeks, because during this course, we want people to have the opportunity to go away, process the information, start to apply it, and then come back. So it's great to have the session scheduled a few weeks apart on this one. Again, we can build this around your needs. We can add more time. We can run it more succinctly. It all comes down to the needs analysis, training needs analysis that we'll do with your team. The final one is impact. Now, impact is something that doesn't have general appeal to everybody, because this is more for companies who want to be able to offer altruistic corporate social responsibility programs out to their communities. So for some organizations, they'll buy the whole universe and they will add additional users on that they can then give out to people in the local community, or charities in the local community, or groups in the local community that are helping to progress small business success programs, making available to 25 people in the local community a course that they can sign up for, that their company pays for, and it's then given for free to these 25 small business leaders. We already have developed a people out of work, getting people into work program. You can see that here on the slide. And we're working on things for ex-veterans, ex-offenders, all sorts of different things that fit into this particular galaxy. Here's an example of a system, the social impact program. At risk of repeating myself, you can see that you can read this slide later. But it's a very intensive course. It helps to make sure that we have regular touch points with some of these people, so that it's not just a case of, here's a bunch of cool ideas, all the best. They have the opportunity to apply and come back, that learning on a weekly basis. It can be customized, can be bespoke, but similar to the other slide, to the other systems, we feel that the off-the-shelf version of this is really ready. So just as a reminder, these are the 5 things that we really take into consideration on that first ring around the universe, which is our on-demand universe platform. Apologies, my voice is starting to go, so I'm just going to drink some water 1 second. Excuse me. So let's talk about that second ring, the additional workshops. We can run all manner of different things. We can train your trainers. That's a really valuable option for companies who want the content, but they don't want to pay us to deliver it every single time. So we can train the trainer in to make sure that your internal people are skilled up to deliver this, and you're essentially then just licensing the content and having access to the platform. We can run fireside chats and mastermind sessions. Those are guest speakers, or your leadership speakers who come to a session, and almost town hall style, they can do Q&A with the audience. We can preempt a bunch of questions. They can come in with organized contents for specific topics. That's just additional stuff to complement the training stuff, especially for those courses that have 5, 6, 8 in-person trainings that are 90 minutes. Sometimes it's helpful to have these to break up the format. So people are, okay, this is a very slightly different session. We're going to run a mastermind session. We're going to run a hackathon. We can also design custom workbooks. We've built and delivered some coaching programs that have been very successful, and mentorship programs that have been very successful, which we can add in as an additional way to ensure that the training is then implemented. So there's all sorts of different things we can do here. There's things that aren't on the slide that we've done a dozen times. Things like for Google Digital Garage, we did all of the branding for that. It's not Google branding, it's not Upskill branding, it's Digital Garage branding. So we can do all of the graphics, the video production, all the things that come behind that. So we really are available to support in all those areas. When it comes to bespoke content, the most important cornerstone is this training needs analysis. It's really important that we have a holistic understanding of your needs. So if you are interested in going beyond the Universe platform and adding things in, we will always recommend to run a training needs analysis. It's quite a simple process. We've got it broken down. We've run them hundreds and hundreds of times. But we find that's really helpful to then move on to identifying the success measures, creating the actual learner journey, which you'll see an example of one on the next slide. Making sure the content is fit for purpose, that it's specific. You know, if you're a legal company, legal use cases. If you're a transport company, transport use cases. That the delivery is effective. Do we want to do third-party delivery? Do you want upskill people to deliver? Do we want to train your trainers to deliver? And then what post-program activities are we going to run? So in terms of bespoke content, everything starts with that cornerstone of a training needs analysis. It will also impact the impact reporting that we'll deliver. So how do we actually make sure that the impact reporting covers all bases when it comes to how your users are applying the knowledge, and how do we ensure that's happening? How do we report on that quantitatively, and how do we understand that qualitatively and anecdotally? So there's a dozen ways we can do this. This is just to give you a general understanding of that training needs analysis is vital, and we'll run that almost as an audit of your status quo. So let's talk about getting started. If you want to get started and you want to know more about this, consider this your first meeting. The idea is that we'll run through something very similar to this, where we can talk about what our galaxy is, what our system is, how we came to this point 18 months and a decade later, where we've got this product clarity that we're really excited to take to market. We can then offer a product demo where you can, we'll walk you through how the LXP works, the learning experience platform works, the Universe platform works. We'll run that demonstration for you so we can tailor it to specifically some of the content you might want to see. For anybody who needs further understanding, we can set up an instance for you where you can have half a day. U plus 2 is the way that we run it. It's you plus 2 other people in your organization as a maximum for a half day. Log in and take some of the courses, access some of the materials, understand the ins and outs of how it works. Once you're comfortable, you'll sign up. And then we run very quickly into stakeholder onboarding. That is anyone in learning management, anyone who's been part of the evaluation process. We want to get you onboarded first to make sure that we're all aligned on how this is going to be deployed. We will then send your users live, and we'll run quarterly check-ins. You can see these little conversation icons. Every quarter, I've talked about it before, as part of that impact reporting, we'll check in personally with you. We didn't put it on the slide because it would have been too busy, but you'll also get that monthly analysis of how things are going. But essentially, we want to run live delivery training, that virtual instructor-led training, throughout the course of the year. So you might want to run it every 6 months. You might want to run it quarterly. You might want to run it monthly. We might want to run multiple cohorts in tandem. If we're trying to get to hundreds of users, we might be running monthly training for 25 users, and we'll do 3 cohorts per month. So that we can get to those sort of larger numbers. But what we've seen most companies do is start with a quarterly idea, what specific courses they want to cover and what specific courses they want to be a part of. And we'll just run that as a trial in year 1. And as more courses are added, we can switch in and switch out additional courses that you might want to have access to. The most important thing you can do right now is scan this QR code, or go to that link if you don't have your phone on you, or you're watching this on your phone. Thanks for those who are watching on the phone, that's real commitment. But scan this QR code, it will take you to this link. I will also send you this link by email this afternoon. But this will take you to a page that's been designed to run through this content. The video recording of this session will be on that page. So you can share that internally, you can share that with people that you think really would benefit from knowing more about us. Post it on LinkedIn, tell everyone, make it a good deed for the day. We're really excited to start showing demos of this software. It's been 18 months of hard graft and hard work. So shout out to our learning team, our tech team, our programs team, who've all poured their heart and souls into this. We're really just excited to start showing it to people. So jump on that QR code, scroll to the bottom, book in a demo with me. We'll run through that at your convenience, and share it around. Make sure you spread the word about the universe. And just like that, bang on 30 minutes, it's over, it's completed. If anybody wants to stick around or anybody wants to ask any questions, feel free to put your hand up. I will linger for the next 5 or so minutes. But from me to you, a massive show of gratitude for taking the time to join the webinar today, for your interest in Upskill Universe, and for our continued partnership for those of you who are already working with us. From me and from the rest of the team, thank you so much for taking the time this morning. Like I said, I'll hang around for questions, but you're free to go.